Happy New Year! Welcome to 2010 Top Guns Realty. A lot of things to talk about today. One thing, let's first of all talk about where we are. We're down here on the Oconee side of the lake. We're actually off of Biggerstaff Road and Fairview Road. We've got an opportunity here. We've got a couple pieces of property that we're going to be listing here in the next week that were actually owned by Duke Power, not in a development. As you can see, they're both point lots. If you look back up towards where our cars are, that's going to be, the building site area, where I see the house sitting. They'll both be just over an acre, and they're going to come in probably right around $350,000. So these are going to be excellent values. I don't expect them to be on the market long. Now, what we're looking at across the way, to give you another idea, that is the Crescent community called Hidden Harbor. As you can see, beautiful home, certainly well over $1 million house just across the cove, so you're in a great area. I know for a fact the lot just to our left, just past that last dock, sold for over $500,000 for that piece that doesn't have the views that these do. So these are a great opportunity out there, and you're not looking at a lot of the covenants and restrictions that a development would have. There will be some single family home and things like that, but again, if you got interested in these properties, give us a ring at 800-682-9098. Let's get on and look back at the numbers for last year to understand what 2009 brought us. First of all, we all know that everybody struggled. I mean, it was very difficult in the real estate market. We had the one-time tax credit for first-time buyers, and now they've extended that. It's not only was $8,000 before for first-time buyers, but now it's $6,500 till the end of April for really about anybody. So if you're again on the fence, there's a good reason to get out there and purchase right now and take advantage of that. Let's look at our numbers from last year. Did some calculations, research yesterday, and for the year 2009, there were 43 waterfront lots that sold on Lake Keowee. Now, if you take out the cliffs and the reserve, that leaves 31 sales for the year in all the other communities or outside of the communities. To give you an idea of the numbers here, 43 lots sold, go back outside, excluding cliffs and the reserve, 31. If you go back to 2004 and 2005, each of those years, 352 properties sold, excluding the cliffs and the reserve. So that's a 91.8%, or excuse me, 91.2% drop in the number of sales over that time. Now let's look at the numbers. If you look at the 31 lots that sold, the average sales price was $326,094.35. Go back to 2008. That year, 51 total lots sold, 40 if you exclude the cliffs and the reserve, for an average sales price of $414,294. So from 2008 to 2009, average sales price dropped about 21.3% on waterfront land over that period. So if you go back to 2007, to give you more numbers, 125 total properties sold, 106 excluding the cliffs and the reserve, for an average sales price of $413,000. So if you go to 2007, 2008, prices were pretty much the same, $413,000 and change, $414,000 and change in 2008. 2006. 229 sold lots, 202 excluding cliffs and reserve, for an average sales price of $415,578. That was the peak, folks. In 2006, as far as the land price, it was $415,578. Go on back to 2005, we had 394 total sales, 352 if you exclude the cliffs and the reserve, for an average sales price of $258,105. So between 2005 and 2006, the average sales price jumped from $258,000 up to $415,000, which was a 43.5% increase over that time. If you go back to 2004, again, there were 359 sold. Excluding the cliffs and the reserve, 352. The average sales price was $184,128. So 2009 average sales price is up 21% from 2005 and 43.5% from 2004. So those are, you know, real numbers. These are numbers we have gotten off of the MLS. And I think what that's telling us is that, hey, you know, I don't, when you look at 2010, how much better is it going to be? I believe it'll be better than 2009. Do I think there'll be great opportunities out there? Well, I know there are. We've already shown you two today, you know, coming into this new market. There are going to continue to be some short sales, some bank-owned things out there. Get out there and take advantage of these, because I've seen, I was looking the other day, there was a house in the Cliffs that was listed for $899, ended up selling, you know, for $450. That was a 6,000 square foot home, not on the water, but, you know, in a cove, not dockable. So there are opportunities out there. Another house that we just put under contract was listed at $375. It's under contract for $375, but originally the owner has over $500,000 in it. So again, some great situations out there. If you give us a call or email us, we can email you any short sale, any bank-owned property out there, and get you in line to take advantage of that and make an offer. Now let's take a look at the home sales for 2009. 2009, we had 89 waterfront home sales for an average sales price of $667,624. Average days on market 183 days. So you're talking about over 6 months average days on market for a house to sell. How does that compare? Go back to 2008, 69 homes sold for an average sales price of $846,000. So again, from 2008, you go from $846 average sales price down to $667 in 2009. 23% drop in prices there. Now, why is that? Well, again, we had a lot of short sales and bank-owned properties, which we're continuing to have, and that certainly affects the numbers. 2007, 88 sold for average sales price of $803,000, and then go back as far as 2006, which again, 2006, just like in the land situation, it was our peak year as far as average sales price. We had 108 sales for an average sales price of $875,482. Average days on market back then was still 159, so still almost taking 6 months to sell. But the average sales price over $200,000 more in 2006 than it is in 2009. Let's jump all the way back to 2005, 139 sales. That was the year that we had the most waterfront homes sold for an average sales price of $609,199. So that number certainly falls more in line with the average sales price today. So a lot of people ask us, you know, where have the prices gone to? Well, from now in 2009, where they're $667, back in 2005 they were $609, so I think you get the idea. Go back to 2004, 126 homes sold, average sales price of $507,014. So again, we've seen a good increase since 2004 up into really up to 2006, not quite double, but about 40% higher over that period. And you know, if you look at those numbers, we're still higher now in 2009 than we were in 2004. What do I see coming up this year? Same type of numbers, probably very similar average price range. Again, it's going to be affected by the short sales, bank-owned properties, and things like that. So that gives you a great idea of what's going on. I really look forward to this year. I think there are going to be a lot of great opportunities. We're going to have to see, you know, what the banks are going to put out there, but they're loosening up some on the jumbo loans, so that's going to help us move some more properties. I think the biggest thing, again, is not moving land right now, and the banks really need to come to the plate on that, because if they're not lending money on the properties, land's not selling, the builders aren't building new homes, people are out of work, and it's just not going to work. So those are important things. One other thing to talk about, we have just brought on a friend of ours, Tom Salisbury. He was with the Cliffs, worked here at the lake for over 8 years. He's going to bring a tremendous amount of experience in the Cliffs communities. He's going to specialize in those communities. You'll see him in our upcoming, you know, maybe videos on our website, but we're going to be very involved with him in doing listings in the Cliffs and the Reserve, and certainly utilizing his last 8 years of experience in those communities. So I think that's something to look forward to. If you've got any questions, want to talk to us about any topics, anything you want to go over next month, just let us know. If you've got any interest in any of our properties, give us a call at 800-682-9098. We'll see you next month. Hey, there's a buyer calling already.